Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, guys. So what I have for you guys today is a video that I didn't think I'd be making this early on really, but today what we're going to be doing, guys, we are going to be reacting to the official championship team of the season, which has just been released by the EFL. Now, I said I didn't think I'd be making this video so early really because I don't know what the EFL are thinking, but for some reason they decided to go ahead and release the championship team of the season in March when there's still like 8 games or so to go of the championship season. They decided to release the team. Now, I don't know why. It doesn't make sense to me. They should have done it at the end of the season, which just would have made a lot more sense, really, in my opinion. But nevertheless, we are going to be going over the team now. I'm going to be giving my opinion on it, but I would be very interested to know as to basically what you guys think of the official championship team of the season. Do you agree with the EFL's choices, or do you disagree? Let me know down below who we get into your team of the season, and I'm also going to be giving you mine as well. So, guys, on screen now, you can see that is the official championship team of the season for the 2016/17 season. So, like I said, we have quite a few talking points to go over, so we'll go through the squad now one by one, and I'll basically say whether I think they deserve to be in the squad or possibly not. Maybe they could miss out, but straight off the bat, you know, we have some notable people that are missing from this team, you know, the likes of Tammy Abraham, Tom Kearney, a couple of goalkeepers definitely could have been in this one as well, Kieran Clark, Lascelles maybe. So we got quite a few talking points. Quite a few people have missed out on this team, which is an interesting one, I'd say that. So we'll start out at the back, guys, with David Stockdale of Brighton being the goalkeeper selected for the team of the season. Now, one thing I will say above all else is none of the players in this team have had a bad season by any stretch of the imagination. Let's just get that out there straight away. However, there are a couple of people in this squad who I think maybe someone else has had a better season than them in their position, and I'm sort of getting that feeling about David Stockdale. Don't get me wrong, he has had a terrific season at Brighton, and I think Brighton this season have got like the second best defence in the league or something like that, just behind Newcastle this season. So, you know, a lot of that has to be attributed to David Stockdale, but saying that, he has got an incredibly solid defence playing in front of him. You know, we've seen the likes of Lewis Dunk, who's also getting into this team, and I just feel like a couple of goalkeepers have unfairly missed out on this prize, really, because they perhaps don't have a greater defence as Brighton do, playing in front of their keeper. But David Stockdale's got the first goal, which is not a bad one, really. On their WhoScored.com, he's got an average match rating of 6.7, which that's not too bad. And into our back four, guys. So first of all, we have Tommy Smith from Huddersfield Town, and if you actually watched my last episode of Poll Predictor, you would have seen that he was one of the options to vote for in the most underrated players in the championship. So it's nice to see him actually getting recognised for this, and you know, he'll be a player that I think, yeah, he probably does deserve to go ahead and slot into this team. You know, it's quite a hard one really to judge the fullbacks, because it's quite a hard thing to gauge really whether, you know, what you judge a fullback on these days. Do you judge them on their defensive capabilities or how good they are going forward? But honestly, Tommy Smith has got both of them in his locker. Of course, Huddersfield have been incredibly solid at the back, and this season he's actually scored 4 goals and got 9 assists as well. And then for our 2 centre-backs, for this one there wasn't really too many shocks. These two are of course always going to be in contention for getting into the team of the season. We have Pontus Jansson first of all, who is going to be partnered up with Lewis Dunk, and this is, you know, once again 2 very solid players this season for their respective clubs, and this season Dunk has got an average 7.6 match rating, which is incredibly high for a centre-back playing in such a team like Brighton. And Pontus Jansson as well also has an incredible record this season. He's got a 7.5 average match rating on WhoScored.com, and he's also popped up with 3 goals this season as well. So yeah, I'd say those two fit in quite well. And then for our left back, guys, this was one that which really caught me off guard really. We have Scott Malone of Fulham, and when the official team was released, I didn't really know what to think about this one, you know. I'm not going to take anything away from him. He has been an incredibly solid player this season, but has he been outstanding and on the level that some of these other players have been this season? I'm not really too convinced by that. I mean, of course, maybe his time at Fulham this season has been a little bit overshadowed because of the arrival of Ryan Sessegnon, the 16-year-old, who has just burst onto the scene this season. And, you know, whenever I've seen Sessegnon play, he's been terrific for Fulham, so maybe his performances have slightly outshadowed Maloney in my opinion, and that's why I've really not noticed him as much this season. But let me know down below, Fulham fans, do you think Maloney has deserved a place in this team? Because I'm a bit doubtful with that one. And then into our midfield three, guys. This is where the team starts to get really interesting. So the EFL decided to go with this sort of like 4-3-3 formation, which they're playing a couple of people out of position, but you know, this is just how it works with fitting everyone into the team. So first of all, we have Anthony Knockaert, and this was just a guaranteed one. You know, I'm pretty sure everyone in the comments down below will be leaving this guy in their championship team of the season, because he's just been phenomenal for Brighton, really. He's had a couple of games this season where he's been off the pace a little bit, and Brighton have suffered because of that, but on the general scale, he's been absolutely terrific for Brighton this season. I mean, just looking at his stats from that winger position, he scored 13 goals and got 7 assists as well, so just an incredibly good season for Knockaert. And then these two have caused a lot of debate this season, actually. We've got Moy and Shelvey, and what I'd love to know from you guys, I'll leave a poll in this video. Who do you think has had the better season? So, not necessarily who you think is the better player, but who do you think has had the better season out of these two players? Because I've seen a lot of debate on Twitter of people discussing who they think's been better this season. Has it been Shelvey or has it been Moy? It's a really difficult one. You know what, I'm just edging towards Moy just because of that suspension Shelvey got, left him out of the season for a little bit, and with how unpredictably good Huddersfield have been this season, really. I think Moy has been behind a lot of that for them, whereas Shelvey has a lot of other players to play around that are like of Premier League quality, whereas Moy maybe not have that. Maybe that's just a bit harsh on Huddersfield, but let me know what you think of that down below. And then for the forward three, guys, we have Glenn Murray of Brighton, Chris Wood of Leeds United, and Dwight Gale of Newcastle United. And these three have once again caused quite a lot of controversy because, you know, this season, you know, it's to be expected. We've got a lot of strikers which could have made this list, but the noticeable one who has missed out on this list is Tammy Abraham of Bristol City. So let me know down below, guys, do you think Tammy Abraham should have made it into this team? I'll leave another poll as well. Who do you think has had the best season in terms of a striker? Do you think it's been Tammy Abraham, Glenn Murray, Chris Wood, or Dwight Gale? Let me know in that poll, guys. I'd be interested to know what you guys had to say about that one. But with these three, you can't take anything away from them, really, because they've all had great seasons. They're all, you know, way into double figures. They'll all surpass 20 goals for the season, in my opinion, and it's a difficult one, but in my team, I do actually leave one of these strikers out, so let me know down below what you guys think should happen. So that is the official EFL team of the season, guys. So now to talk over my team. So as you can see on screen now, here are the players that the EFL included in their team of the season, which I am also going to include in my team. So as we can see, I've left out 3 players who made it into the EFL team of the season, who, in my opinion, there was 3 other players who had, in my opinion, a little bit of a better season. So first of all, coming into the goalkeeper spot, this is just a really highly contested spot, you know, in my opinion. I'll leave another poll for who you think has been the best goalkeeper in the championship this season. I'll be very interested to see the outcome of that one, but the reason I'm going to go ahead and put Al Habsi in this one is because, I'm not going to lie, Reading don't have the best defensive record this season. You know, when you compare their defensive record to teams like Leeds, Brighton, Huddersfield, Newcastle, it's not as good as their defensive record. However, the amount of saves that Al Habsi has to make on a game-to-game basis is so greater than any of the other keepers in the top 6. You know, I went to look at some stats on Squawker just before, and the average amount of saves that David Stockdale has to make is 2 per match. The average amount of saves that Westwood has to make from Sheffield Wednesday is like 2.2 saves per match, but Ali Al Habsi actually has to make an average of 3 saves per match. Now that may not seem like that much, you know, only having to make an average of 1 more save per match, but when you pile that up over a season, you know, we've played 38 games in the championship so far. That's 38 more saves which Al Habsi has had to do this season than any of the other keepers in the top 6. So, you know, other keepers in the top 6 maybe have better records, but Ali Al Habsi's save rate in terms of the shots he's facing is slightly better than them. And as well as that, you just look at the defences which these keepers have got in front of them. I mean, David Stockdale has got players like Lewis Dunk playing in front of him. I mean, Ali Al Habsi's got Chris Gunter playing in front of him. And then for my next pick, guys, the player that I'm going to include next, not actually a left back, but I'm going to include him in the back line anyway. I don't really think it matters. I think what's most important is who has been the best 4 defenders this season, because in my opinion, there hasn't really been a left back who's overly stood out to me and, you know, has had like a phenomenal season, in my opinion. There's been a lot of left backs this season who have had a solid season, but no one that really jumps off the page at me. Feel free to correct me in the comments down below if you think someone has had a really good year as a left back. But since that is the case, I'm going to go ahead and include Kieran Clark, who I thought was desperately actually unlucky to miss out on this team, in my opinion. You know, Newcastle this season have got the best defensive record in the championship, and there has to be a reason for that, you know. So for the EFL to not include any Newcastle defenders or goalkeeper, I thought I'd have to include one in my team, and in my opinion, Kieran Clark has been Newcastle's best defender this season. I think he's been that bit above Lascelles in my opinion this season, and so for that reason I'm going to go ahead and include him in this team. I also think he's shown a lot of good leadership this year as well, Clark, and overall he's been very good at this level. And then to complete my championship team of this season, I'm going to go ahead and put in Tom Cairney into the squad. This was the selection which really baffled me when I saw the actual official team. I couldn't believe that Tom Cairney hadn't made it into it. So what I've done for this team, I've turned it into sort of like a 4-4-2 formation, and I've decided to leave out Glenn Murray of the striking options to acquire Tom Cairney into this squad. That may be a little bit harsh on him, but in my opinion, Tom Cairney has had a better season than Glenn Murray. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments down below, but that is just my opinion. But he's been Fulham's catalyst for success this season. If Fulham are going to get into the playoffs, an almighty amount of that is going to be attributed to Tom Cairney. This season, if we actually look over his stats, he has scored 9 goals and also got 9 assists as well. And as well as that, he's also got an average match rating of 7.41, which is incredibly good. And some of the goals that Tom Cairney has popped up with this season has been absolutely sublime. I mean, that one he scored against Newcastle the other week was absolutely out of this world. And one thing I will say about Tom Cairney as well is that he does seem to really step it up in the big occasions. You know, we've seen like that Newcastle game being a prime example of that, whereas a lot of other players this season tend to shy away from the big games. This may be a little bit harsh, but I know on a lot of the big occasions, Anthony Knockout hasn't really stepped up to the plate, whereas players like Tom Cairney perhaps have. So in my opinion, I do think that Tom Cairney deserves to be in this team. Let me know what you think of that down below. So there you have it, guys. This will be my selection for my championship team of the season. Now, we of course still have 8 games to play, so come the end of the season, I could have a couple mind changes of players who I think maybe deserve to be in the squad a little bit more. Why the EFL has decided to do this now and do the team of the season in March is just it baffles me. I've got no idea why they decide to do it, but that is my team of the season, guys. So let me know in the comments down below, do you agree or disagree with me? I'd be very interested to know. And of course as well, it is such a competitive league and there are a lot of big names that I had to leave off this list. You know, I was so close to including Tammy Abraham. I really wanted to fit him in to this squad somehow, and if I did have 3 forwards in this team, Tammy Abraham would just get in over Glenn Murray in my opinion. But once again, it's harsh to leave him out, but in my opinion, Chris Wood and Dwight Gale have just had the edge over him this season. So there you have it, guys. That will wrap it up for this video. So if you have enjoyed, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you check out all the other links in the description down below. Make sure you vote on all the polls in this video, as I'd be very interested to know what you guys have to say about this. And make sure you voice your opinions in the comments down below. But like I said, that will wrap it up. Make sure you drop me a follow on Twitter as well, as I always tweet before I upload the video. Therefore, you'll never miss a video ever again, guys. Make sure you subscribe for regular championship content. But apart from that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.